So I just encourage you, if you're working through something like that with your kids, make sure you have these conversations with them, because actually your words are very heavy and they hold a lot of space in their world. And we got to be able to be there for them. But if we don't know how, tell them, I don't really know how to help you in this situation. Should we contact the coach and better understand what tryouts are going to look like? We want to be able to move forward in this arena. We don't want to compare ourselves to anybody else, just work on ourselves. What could we do to make that happen? Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world.
Hi everybody, I'm Bella, and I'm here today with my two sisters, Abbie and Crissy, and with my mom, and we are in the podcast studio, and today we will be talking about not comparing ourselves to others.
That's right, both in the family and outside of the family.
Right, friends and siblings.
That's right, because naturally, all of us want to do as well, if not better, than most people in our lives in all aspects, right?
For sure, especially us all being so competitive. Everything's a competition, whether it's who can get done their laundry fastest or who can hit the best serves on the tennis court.
Right, and everything in between.
Right, everything.
So we were just sitting here today as the kids have been ramping up, because in about a month or so, they do tryouts for golf again, and cross country starts. And of course, we've continued with tennis this whole summer. And the kids were just saying how they're super excited, but what lessons learned from the previous year to not get upset with ourselves if we're not where we want to be sometimes. Right, Crissy?
Right. It's super important to always just be working on improving yourself and not comparing yourself to other people who may have gone through that improvement season a little bit earlier than you. Speaking of us having competitions all the time, reminded me of the other day. Our younger sister Hunter, we're normally all eating together in our kitchen, so we're all eating like the same meal, started about the same time, and she goes, "Oh, I'm done first." And normally she's like never done first. We're like, "Good job, Hunter. We give that one to you." But then everybody's like, Hunter's like, "You're done second. You're done third. You're done fourth." She's naming off all of the places that we're done eating. It was so funny because even her in her little 5-year-old state, she's super competitive.
It's true. All of us want to be the best in everything we're doing. And sometimes that can be in sports, of course. Sometimes that can be even in the way we maybe look or see somebody else look. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how many times we've, walked out of a situation and maybe one of my girls are like, "Oh, her hair was really pretty," or "I really liked her makeup," or "Oh, she looked so beautiful in the dress." And all that is true, but not to ever compare ourselves to somebody else, as in making ourselves seem less than.
Right.
Right? Because we always compare our what?
Our worst to their best.
That's right. And that could be in anything that we see. So one of the things that we always work on is really being thankful for the gifts that we've been given, the blessings that we've been given, the talents that we've been given, knowing that we can work harder on them, but we can't be ungrateful of the things that we are blessed with.
Right, like for instance, a couple years ago, I felt shorter than a lot of my friends, and there was one of my friends who grew really tall, like right away, and she was like, "I would like to be a little bit shorter because I'm taller than everybody else," but I'm like, "I'd like to be a little bit taller." So it just brings me to, sometimes you always want the opposite of what you have. Like if you're short, you want to be tall. If you're tall, you want to be short. If you're brunette, you want to be blonde. It's just, you have to be thankful for what you have rather than just falling into that trap of wanting what other people have.
Right. What do you think about that, Ab?
Yeah, because comparison is the thief of all joy. So you got to realize that if you compare each other, then you're not being grateful for what God has given you. God has made you beautifully and has designed you the way you are. But that does not mean you do not try very hard in sports. That doesn't mean you just settle for defeat. I could just be, since I'm not on varsity, "Oh, God made me this way." No, God did not make me this way. God made me to be a champion in all that I do. I just need to work hard and keep getting better. And even if they had gotten there before, I'm going to make sure I work hard enough, and then I'm going to go against them and beat them.
That's right. And really realizing that some of the choices we make does determine if we move forward or not. I mean, if you choose not to practice as hard as maybe somebody else on the team, by nature, they're probably going to advance quicker to maybe varsity or something like that. It's not anything to be jealous of. It's actually just a reflection that you need to decide what you really want.
Right. And the person that works the hardest should rightfully move up the fastest because they're putting in the effort and extra hours to be able to achieve the goals they want to. And so when you see someone else working hard, it just kind of is a reminder. Like my sister and I, Abbie, we would go to all the practices for tennis. So it's JVB, JVA, and then varsity. We would go to all three every day. So that's like 5 hours of tennis. And so we were just working really hard to progress fast. And it was really cool because in the middle of the season, we got asked to play a varsity match and because we were on JVA. So it was really cool to be able to play that varsity match and actually earn it. And then we ended up beating our opponents, which was really fun. And so, yeah, just learning lessons in everything you do.
Right. And not thinking for 1 minute that, somebody else possibly should have gotten that spot. I mean, somebody could be thinking, I guess, hey, how did Abbie and Bella get that spot? Mm-hmm. Without even realizing the amount of work that you just said you put into it.
Right, for sure. We were working really hard doing the Saturday workouts and all those different things that most people probably didn't see and didn't understand why we were being helped out by the coach and all these kind of things. But it was really just all the efforts that we put in.
Yeah, I think Crissy had a story too about moving up. Being an 8th grader, playing a sport for the first time ever in a group setting or for a school, period.
Right.
And, maybe not advancing as quickly as somebody else did younger than you.
Right. So this past year was my first year playing in school sports in general. So coming into the middle school being in 8th grade was a little bit hard because, one, nobody knew me. No coaches knew me. Nobody knew me. I had the same question every day. So, do you go to this school? Because I haven't seen you. So that was kind of tricky. And then jumping into a new sport like cross country that I've never done before, I didn't know what to expect. So being willing to work the hardest, even if it's discouraging at first, because it was discouraging at first, not feeling like I was as far ahead maybe as some of the other middle schoolers who've been there for 3 years. I was jumping into my first year of school sports, so just being willing to work hard enough to progress and try to keep up with everybody else helped me a ton, getting a ton of top 5, top 10 finishes, things like that. But like when it came to tennis, our middle school around here is the most competitive middle school in the district. So in districts, our boys team and our girls team got first place. So jumping right into there, I didn't do well my first few days at tryouts because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how it worked. It was all really, really new to me, and I had to be okay with the fact that I had to work hard, maybe harder than the other kids at my age did, because I haven't been there for 3 years like they have. So just being willing to work hard, not compare myself to other people, and just stay the course and be patient helped a ton.
Right. And just being aware too, I guess even as a parent, like I didn't really know how it worked either.
Right.
Like this was kind of new to all of us. So if you're kind of jumping into things for the first time with your kids, whether it's sports, whether it's dance, whether it's, anything that they're going to be a part of, really taking the time to maybe study it yourself a little bit would be awesome, because I wasn't really sure. So even when Crissy came home at first, and she was frustrated, I was kind of frustrated too, because I had seen, our kids practice and stuff, but we didn't know the level of some people's dedication, how much work they were doing behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And so even when she came home and, maybe the first couple of days of tryouts were a little rough, instead of kind of understanding it, I will just tell you, I know I did it wrong at first, because she told me, oh gosh, there was a 6th grade, I think it was girl that beat you. And I was like, oh no, a 6th grader? And I didn't say nasty or mean or anything like that, but it was more like a disappointment, like a shock factor.
Yeah.
And Crissy, of course, already was a little shocked herself. Yeah. So for me to even say it made me realize later on when she was able to communicate with me that it kind of hurt her feelings, that I almost was like saddened by it, I guess is the word.
Right. And I knew my mom didn't mean any of that stuff, but I was already really disappointed with myself. It was my first match. on the first couple of days of tryouts. So I was super nervous, and then I lost, and it did not help things. And then I go home, and I felt my mom was disappointed. I'm like, I'm really trying, but I don't know what to do right now. Like, this is all really, really new to me. So I was just frustrated, and everything combining was just, I had to work through it for sure.
Yeah, well, we both did, actually, because it just goes to show the power of your words to your kids are so in their face sometimes. You know, I had to have a good talk with her and ask for an apology because I didn't mean to make her feel upset or to not feel like she could, you know, beat this person or that I was disappointed. That was not the case. It was probably just, again, both of us were a little surprised on how this worked. So I just encourage you, you know, if you're working through something like that with your kids, make sure you have these conversations with them because actually your words are very heavy. And they hold a lot of space in their world. And we got to be able to be there for them. But if we don't know how, you know, tell them, I don't really know how to help you in this situation. Should we contact the coach and better understand what tryouts are going to look like? Should we contact the coach and ask, is there something we could do to practice ahead of time? You know, we want to be able to move forward in this arena. We don't want to compare ourselves to anybody else, just work on ourselves. What could we do to make that happen?
Right.
That's good. Anything you wanted to add, Ab?
Yeah, and like going back to when Crissy could have compared herself, and I'm sure there was some doubt and comparison in her mind, but since we have such amazing parents who help us walk through when we're disappointed or walk through when we're happy, all the ups and downs, they help us make sure that we don't compare ourselves. I remember back when we were in Wisconsin when I was younger, I would compare myself because I didn't feel like I was quote unquote what the world described as a cool girl, you know. I felt like I wasn't one that everybody would come around and like get the crowds around me and would follow me, so I tried to be like somebody else, and that didn't turn out really well in my season. I tried to just do different things to look different, but that wasn't my authentic just being myself. And I had to learn that, and my mom and dad gave me a lot of grace during that season because a lot of my siblings, I feel like, were also learning that as well during that season. But I had to learn not to compare myself and just be grateful for who I am and that I'm unique and I don't need to be like anybody else, and how it's really cool to be you. Like, God created you to be you, and it's cool to be you. You don't have to be like everybody else, and the right people will follow you. So that's something I had to learn, that the right people will want to follow me, even if it's not what the world describes as cool people, you know?
Well, and that's all relative. You know, quote unquote cool is relative. And it's so interesting. I was just taking a walk with one of my friends the other day, and we were just chatting about the whole idea of when we were younger, how we thought what fitting in looked like. You know, what fitting in looked like. And then as you become an adult, you quickly realize like some of the ideas that we had young were just skewed because maybe somebody put that in our head. Maybe it was something we read. Maybe it was something we saw. Maybe it was the other people around us. But really, we already belong. We already belong right now. You know, it's whether or not you step into it and are excited about where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where partially some comparison come in when you want to be like somebody else, because you're comparing yourself to the other person and wanting to be like them. So you're comparing yourself, and that's not the way that God designed you to be. God designed you to be who you are, unique and just beautiful the way you are. So when you start having those doubts, that's Satan trying to come into your mind, and you just got to rebuke him. And you got to, like, for my parents, I just need to go to them and just be reminded of who I am, go to God and be reminded of my identity and who I am. And now that I've gone past that season and see who I am even stronger now, knowing that I am beautiful the way I am.
Right. And I think we all have to encourage each other for that. That's one of the biggest keys is it starts at home, of course, for us to all encourage each other at home, because we all go through those times when we are self-conscious or wondering where we belong. But then it's really walking into it and realizing even around your friends and your acquaintances that you still belong.
Right. I totally think this is an important part of how you view yourself and others, because when you are comparing yourself to other people, it kind of gives you a negative mindset, and you really don't really enjoy things like you used to before you started comparing yourself. And I think that's a thing that we all had to learn in the little seasons we went through of trying to be cooler, trying to be like this person, thinking that was kind of the in thing. And to just realize that, honestly, life wasn't that fun then when you're trying to compare ourselves. And like Abbie said, comparison is the thief of joy. And it really was the thief of joy. And so just stepping out of that season, learning all those lessons, and now being able to apply all those things and help all of us be able to learn all those lessons.
I love it. We'll probably talk more about this in the future.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.